What is up? It's been a while, but I'm back with another stream, another one. We got our cloud, we got some code, and we got some coffee here. So we got some good music going. And today, it's been a while since I've done a workshop. The last couple of streams have been kind of ad hoc, impromptu streams, and failed pretty miserably to even just get my development environment all set up, and so I just bailed on all of them. So I figured out like I work better with more structured workshops and sort of going through them. And then this one just popped up a couple days ago. Nader Dabbit put together this awesome workshop that includes using the CDK with Next.js and AWS Amplify. And I've been kind of doing like side projects with these tools, and I really like it. And so it's pretty cool that he came out with a workshop that's around these specific tools that I've been using. So yeah, I mean, let's go ahead and dive into it. But first of all, I did a stream about my, using like my development environment with GitHub code spaces. And I finally think I've got it locked in pretty well. And so yeah, if you're interested and you have access to the code spaces beta, then you can go ahead and go to my my repo here. I created it as like a template repo, and you just have to click this button here that says use this template, and basically it will create a new repository with this template. And it just includes like a Docker file that I build and push to Docker Hub, but this dev container, which you can also actually use like within your VS Code, environment, like locally, if you wanted to do that. So I forget exactly, but I think you could do like remote container or something, within your VS Code environment. One sec here. So anyways, but for me, I've found that it's really nice to just, like I said, use this as a template for new projects and repositories. And then it just kind of has all the tools built into it by default. And so like all my settings that I like, and everything is all set up. On one of the failed attempts to stream through a side project, was that I couldn't authenticate with AWS SSO. So I ended up finding this like GitHub issue that other people are experiencing the same issues with using AWS SSO to interact with the using like the CDK basically. And so if you go to this GitHub issue, there's a specific comment here by Jared Short, and basically lays out all the setup that you need to do to be able to use SSO with a tool like the CDK. So I recommend checking this out. But if you use my template with the dev container settings in here, inside the Docker file, I've already kind of set the bash RC to be able to run that setup. So basically, all you have to do is just run SSO and then the name of the profile that you want to use. So typically, I've been using like Blake-dev. So you would just type in. I hope that's. Just zoom in a little bit more. So the command just starts with SSO, and then you just name your profile, and then it's pretty cool from there. So you just kind of hit enter here, and it notices that that profile has not been found. Then I've hard coded my SSO URL into the bash RC, but you can always change this value as well as the region. And then what it does is it opens up a new tab for you to authenticate with AWS SSO, and it just automatically does this for you, right? So eventually you will get to the login. If you haven't already logged in, right, you'll log into your identity provider, but essentially you'll get to the point where it just says sign in to AWS CLI. You click that button, and now you can select your profile, which I'll select profile, and then my default region for my profile would be US West 2, and then the output format will just say YAML, or YAM, yes. And there you go. So now I'm authenticated, and the cool thing about this Starship prompt that I've installed in Bash is that it actually tells you what AWS profile that you're using in which region, that's your default region. So yeah, now I can do an AWS S3 LS, and I don't even have to specify the profile actually, because that bash RC script will set the default profile as what we just configured it as. So yeah, I can do that and give it a name, and now we're good. So we are authenticated with AWS. Now that was pretty quick, it's pretty quick and dirty way to use, AWS SSO in addition to, all the tools and stuff. So. All right. Let's see here. Move that back over. So now that we've logged in and stuff, and we are in. I can move this way actually. Just do that actually. So now we can go ahead and get started with the CDK with Next.js and AWS Amplify workshop. Yeah, so if you're not familiar with the CDK and AWS Amplify, it's like it's kind of interesting. It's an interesting sort of conjunction here with, or for lack of a better word, but anyways, they're two different like tools that generate CloudFormation under the hood, right? So but I think the idea is that CDK allows you to have more control over the resources that you build, and then Amplify is sort of this like opinionated, sort of like easy to get up and running with a front end application, but then the idea is that you create your back end resources with CDK and have all that control, or ability to modify all the back end resources. But Amplify will take care of a lot of the front end for you. So you kind of like, I think what the goal is, like you sort of pass like resource references or imports outports within CloudFormation stacks between the CDK and Amplify. So I'm really interested to see how that plays out with this workshop. And hopefully we'll get through as much as we can today, but if not, we'll circle back and try to do another stream about it. I got about an hour, so yeah, I mean, let's get started. In this workshop, we'll build a full stack cloud application with Next.js, CDK, AppSync, which is another cool service there, and then Amplify. We'll start from scratch, creating a new Next.js app, and then step by step, we'll use the CDK to build out and configure our cloud infrastructure, and then use amplified JS libraries to connect the Next.js app to the APIs we create in the CDK. That's a smarter way to say what I went on about. All right. So the app will be a multi-user blogging app with a markdown editor. When you think of many types of applications like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, they consist of, I'll increase the font there. Okay, that looks better. They consist of a list of items and often ability to drill down into single item view. The app will be will be very similar to this, displaying a list of posts with data like title, content, and author of the post. We'll then add user authentication and authorization, enabling signed-in users to edit and delete their own posts. This workshop should take you anywhere between 6 to 8 hours to complete. Okay, so obviously this is going to be a multi-stream. I'm gonna 6 hours or 6 to 8 hours to finish this. So I'm gonna need more coffee, I think. But anyways, so the environment and prerequisites. Like you said, hopefully you all can use my use this dev container setup that I got going on, because it has basically everything that you need installed on it already, and it continues to update. So anyways, we'll be working with a terminal using a bash shell. Okay. All right, so background needed / level. This workshop is intended for intermediate to advanced JavaScript developers wanting to learn more about full stack serverless development. While some level of React and GraphQL is helpful, because all front-end code provided is copy and pastable, this workshop requires zero previous knowledge of React and GraphQL. Thank God. I'm not a front-end developer. I'm a fake front-end developer, but we'll see. All right. So topics that we'll be covering: GraphQL API with Aws Appsync. And if you're not familiar with Aws Appsync, it's basically AWS's managed service of a GraphQL server. So I've used it a couple times previously on some side projects, but super powerful. And AWS, they always do a good job with their managed services that they provide, especially with AppSync. So additionally, we'll be covering authentication and authorization, which again, like with Amplify, it's crazy how simple it is to add authentication and authorization with Cognito, hosting, and then deleting resources. All right, so getting started. To get started, we need to create a base folder for the app, create a folder called CDK next, and change into it. And then we'll create the next app. Okay, so move my coffee over. All right, so we'll just say make their CDK-next. CDK. All right, and then we'll just run this command to create our next app. I haven't heard exactly when GitHub code spaces will be generally available. I'm kind of interested to see where that goes. I was kind of I think they're having like GitHub's having their big conference going on right now, so I kind of expected to hear more info on that, but I think all we got was dark mode on your GitHub projects, which it looks pretty good, I think, but that's as far as I know from what I've read. But anyways, okay, finished. I was stalling there. I don't know if you recognize that, but okay. So if we look into our directory now, we got this create next app sort of scaffolds, builds all this out for us. And you kind of get all the defaults for a basic next application. Okay, so then if we cd into next front end, oh man, we got the spammers are back on Twitch here. Damn it. Okay, I get my only followers on these streams are freaking scammers. Want to become famous? Bigfollows.com. I don't recommend it. Again, I just have to show it because I think it's funny, but good luck if you go to bigfollows.com. Oh, we got another one here. Look at this. So Sean 37. Thanks, bud. Freaking spammers. Anyways, moving on. We don't got no time for spammers. All right. So now that we are in the next front end directory, we need to install the dependencies. And so I'm just going to copy and paste this into our terminal. Oops. Uh-oh. Did I spell something wrong? That's interesting. So, okay, wait, hold on a sec. Let's read the directions here. Okay, now change into the new apps directory. and install these dependencies with either npm or yarn. Next, change back to the root directory to begin building the backend. Okay, so what happened here? We just try to npm install. Oops. Install AWS-Amplify. I've noticed anytime you do like an npm install, it's always a good time to take a drink of coffee. You know, it takes forever. See, so what so it looks like there was an error. Fix the upstream dependency conflict or retry command with force. It didn't like one of these modules, I guess. Damn, this is taking forever. npm install though, you know, downloads the half of the internet. Well, I think that worked. Let's try this again. Just try one package at a time here. It doesn't like that UI React module. While resolving next front end. Interesting. I'm gonna try to just like, I'm gonna get rid of our node modules here permanently. And then I'm gonna try to just run this npm install from scratch here. Maybe there is something like included in creating the next app that screwed something up, but let's try this again. Nope, doesn't like it. Oh, okay. Wait a second. I think we can change our package.json here. All right, yeah, we'll try this. See, like I said, I'm not a big React or front end or anything. I'm learning. Okay, so let's try to run this again. And Okay, so could not resolve dependency. Or we could just force it. All right. Whatever. Hopefully that works. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna open another terminal session here, because now we're gonna change back to the root to begin building the backend infrastructure. Installing the CLI and initializing a new CDK project. So I already have the CDK installed. Let me see what version though. I think it's like 1.77 is the latest. Yeah. All right, and now we will enter next backend and cd into next backend. All right, and then we will run ck init dash language equals TypeScript. All right, so the CDK has initialized a new project. To build the project at any time, you can run the build command, npm run build. And basically this just compiles the TypeScript into JavaScript, and then you can run our CDK diff. It should just show, we started a new terminal, that's why. So I think we started a new terminal session. So so basically, like we can just run that SSO and then the same name as the profile, right? The AWS profile. So I created Blake-dev. If you just type in SSO-Blake, it's gonna make us. That's kind of annoying. So you have to authenticate in every session that you create. That kind of sucks. I guess you don't have to go through that other, the other setup, but still, that's kind of lame. But so anyways, now if I just clear this, actually, and if we run CDK diff now, should work. Yeah. So we just get the metadata for our CDK application. So far, so good. All right, so now we need to install CDK dependencies. And you can see, like, we're gonna use Cognito, AppSync, Lambda, and DynamoDB. So I'm just gonna copy and paste this guy in. Awesome. All right, now we can, I think we're finally at the point of writing some code. And we are gonna start by creating the authentication service with CDK. So when working with CDK, the code for the main stack lives in the lib directory. We created the project, the CLI created a file named backend, next backend stack.ts where our stack code is written. All right, so now if we do that, lib dot okay, so yeah, I think it comes with like some boilerplate code here, but let's just get rid of that. And I think we can minimize this now because we're going to be writing some code. All right, so now we need to import these modules, bring them into our index.ts. All right, then we create the constructor here. I'm just going to copy this in. There's nothing special about it, really. Okay, and then now we should be able to, let's go ahead and const user pool equals new cognito dot. So I haven't used like the cognito user pool with the CDK before, so it's cool to. I always enjoy looking at the IntelliSense of the available options here that we have, but for this we're going to use the user pool, and then we say this scope. Give it a name like CK backend, I'm assuming. Then CDK blog. Yeah, that might get confusing. So CDK blog user pool. All right. So self sign up enabled. True. Accounts recovery. So how will a user be able to recover their account? I'm going to say cognito dot account recovery dot, and then here's our options for being able, for the account recovery. Seems like phone and email, I'm assuming. Yeah, phone and email. User verification. Okay. So that will be email style. That's cool. So it's just gonna basically email the user a code so that they can verify their account. I already can see that I like using CDK with Cognito to, you can Yeah, you can kind of already see the power of this already. So auto verify, email is true. Okay. And then standard attributes. What does that mean? The set of attributes that are required for every user in the user pool. Okay. So, I don't know if you notice here too. So when you hover over one of the properties of the user pool, or any resource that we're creating, they also have links to the documentation in AWS to sort of read through more of the attributes that are available, right? So we can just get this here, email, required equals true, mutable is true. Cool. So this just telling. Oh, did I miss a curly brace? I think that's should be right. Oh, I haven't closed out that was it's weird. Oh, because I only copied the. Thanks. Got something wrong here. Where does this one? Where does this curly bracket go? Nowhere. All right. Well, let's keep going. So we need to create the user pool client. User pool client. Goes new. Cognito. User pool client. All right. And then we just pass in our user pool. Right? I think we still got an error here. So what is it? What is it complaining about? Because then it just does that. This code will create a Cognito user pool that will enable a user to sign in with a username, email address, and password A user pool client will also be created, enabling client applications, in our case, the Next.js app, to interact with the service. Okay. So I'm just going to try to run a CDK diff. Let's see if that works. Or, oh wait, let me try to CDK synth. Maybe this will give us some more detail. Well, oh wait. We should be getting more than just our metadata on a CDK synth. Like it should have the Cognito resources. So something's not right here. I'm just going to try to copy and paste maybe. Let's see what happens here. Now that we kind of have gone through the code, let's see if this works. I must have done something wrong, but no, still. Well, that's kind of weird. Oh, did I put it in the wrong? Oh, what is this then? Weird. Not sure what this was for. I put it in the wrong file. So it says there's a .d .ts file in there for some odd reason. Okay. That makes more sense because I was like, what is going on? So if we just copy in the imports again. All right, let's try that now. If we do a CDK synth again, there we go. So now it's including our Cognito resources. Very cool. It even tells you, like what the message is that is in like the text or whatever if you do your verification through your text or email. That's kind of cool. I didn't really know that. I bet you could, obviously you can probably override those default values, but all right, so moving on. Adding the Aws Absynt Graphql API with CDK. All right. So next we'll need to create the Appsync GraphQL API. To create the API, add the following code to the user pool definition in the libs. Okay, so we're in the right file now. So we're just gonna append this here, and then I'm going to say const API equals new appsync GraphQL API. This and CDK blog. What does he call it? Okay. All right. So we'll give it a name. CDK blog. Log config. The logging configuration for this API. That's nice. Field log level. Appsync dot field log level. And then the schema. So it looks like we will be creating like a local file in our directory to search for the GraphQL schema. So if you look at this guy here, the schema for the GraphQL API, if no options are configured, schema will be generated. Code first. Okay. Where were we? Oh yeah. Dot from asset. So it looks at our local, the file path, and then we'll create a folder called GraphQL, and then a file called schema dot GraphQL. I wish I could expand this. Okay. And then if we look back over here, so authorization config. This is the authorization config. It's kind of interesting too, like a lot of these properties of the GraphQL API are experimental still. So early days. Alrighty, and then let's see. So default authorization type is Appsync dot authorization type dot API key. API config, API key config. And then we just give it a expires. We use the core module that includes expiration after CDK dot duration days. How many days does he put on here? 365. Get rid of this here. Alrighty, so let's see, where are we at here? Okay. So we set the API or the authorization config to authorize with an API key. And then we set that API key to expire after 365 days, right? So additionally, in the authorization config, we add additional authorization modes, which is authorization type Appsync dot authorization type dot user pool. Do we pass in? Oh, we just specified like to use a user pool, and then now we pass in our this user pool that we created up here in Cognito. Awesome. Okay, so if we sort of recap here, it says this code will create an Appsync GraphQL API with two types of authentication, API key for public access and Amazon Cognito user pool for private authenticated access. Our app will be using a combination of public and private access to achieve a common real-world use case that combines the two types of access. For example, we want developers to be able to read blog posts, whether they're signed in or not. But if a user is signed in, we want to give them the correct access so that they can update or delete posts that have been created, but only their own posts. Makes sense. Awesome. Yeah, okay. So, and if we run a, let's run a CDK. I always like to sort of run a CDK synth after every sort of iteration to the CDK application to make sure that everything is still on the up and up. Ooh, that's it. Oh, see, something went wrong. Oh, it's because we haven't created that directory yet. So that's cool. You know, it's already telling us like, hey, you know, you told me to come, you know, you told me to look for the schema in this directory, but there's nothing there. So let me just create that real quick. Okay, so we can probably leave that blank, and then I'm curious to see, you know, if we can run a CDK synth again. Now that we've created that file, yeah, and now it synthesizes properly, and it includes all of our well, it includes our AppSync resource. Really nice. Cool. So I think that's probably where I'm going to end the stream for now, and then we'll pick up on adding the GraphQL schema and sort of diving in deeper into the GraphQL side of things and trying to understand that part of the project. So I'm going to go ahead and commit this to the repo. You can reference it later if you want, or I guess it's all in the workshop as well. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.